When people typically say they're gonna go out and ride a roller coaster, they usually mean they're gonna go to a theme park, but that isn't always the case. We're at a point in time where there are some bizarre locations for roller coasters around the world.
Yeah, I think that people are realizing like, hey, if we want to draw people into whatever location or business they're running, they're like, if we add something extra, we're gonna get more people in the door. And like, most people enjoy roller coasters. So it's like, well, why don't we just throw that in? Because it might not be the most expensive edition. You might not have to get the most thrilling coaster. It's the novelty of the location.
Yeah, it's unconventional. It makes you go like, what are we doing here? Like, it's weird. So we've compiled the 10 craziest places that we've ridden a roller coaster around the world. Now, obviously we haven't done every roller coaster out there, so like, unfortunately, the Burger King coaster is not gonna be on this list because we haven't done it yet, but there's definitely some funny ones on here, that's for sure.
Roller coasters don't belong in these locations, but yet here they are.
So let's start off with number 10, riding a roller coaster at a casino, specifically a casino in the middle of nowhere. I'm talking about Desperado at the Buffalo Bills Hotel and Casino in Primm, Nevada, which is like 40 something miles outside of Las Vegas.
Yeah, so like the Big Apple coaster in Vegas doesn't really feel that weird, right? Like there's all kinds of crazy attractions and rides and stuff there, but this one is so far outside of like the rest of everything, like civilization, but yet it stands and it's there, but I don't think it's operating anymore, right?
Yeah, it's been standing but not operating for a bit. It seems like a rarity if you get the chance to experience it. I got lucky. I did it in 2016. I think I only got one ride on it. I wasn't a huge fan of it, but the reason that this whole place exists in the first place is because it's designed for travelers coming from like Southern California who want to gamble and make like a quick pit stop on their way to Vegas. And so having this big roller coaster, it's like a billboard. It's like, hey, come check this place out. And now it's like a ghost town and all the rides are closed and it's kind of sad and they should probably just tear it down, but it's still there.
So at our number 9 spot, we're gonna give this one to the Prairie Screamer, which is a fairly large roller coaster located at a flea market.
Yeah, so you're literally walking around this place where there's all these different stands set up that you can buy just about everything, and then you look in the back and there's this big old E&F Miler roller coaster, and it is so bizarre.
Yeah, I think if it was like an SPF Visa or something small, I wouldn't really think as much of it, but it's the fact that it's like really big.
I will say there are a couple other rides in this area. The whole place is called Traders Village. It's in like the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It's not like this is the only ride there, but still the whole premise behind it is strange. I don't know if I can think of another flea market that's like that, unless I guess you count Global Village, but I'd say that feels more like a traditional theme park.
Yeah.
There's like an entry ticket. This is you just walk in. One of the coolest experiences that we got to do was take a test ride on a roller coaster that technically hasn't even made an official debut yet. We got to ride the Axis prototype at the S&S Worldwide facility in Logan, Utah.
It's not necessarily weird that a company that makes roller coasters would have a roller coaster at their facility. However, it is a very rare experience to have, and it's like kind of weird because it's like not a full like blown coaster really. Like it's literally like a launch into like one element, a turn, and then back around. But it's so fun anyway, and
yeah.
like it's like it was just kind of like wow, like so few people have ever ridden this.
Oh, exactly. It's meant for potential clients who can come out to S&S,
yes,
take
we
a
were
ride
thinking
on it.
about purchasing an Axis.
Yeah.
That's why.
No, we were very grateful to be invited out to go, take a ride on it. You can check out those videos that we post on the channel about it. It's a lot of fun. It definitely got us excited to go out and, ride an Axis whenever one does make its debut. But yeah, that was a pretty unique one. That was really cool.
So I feel like if you're a coaster enthusiast, you are no stranger to mountain coasters. But I would argue that most mountain coasters are located in fairly well-known areas. So I'm thinking like Pigeon Forge, there's a ton. When you're in Branson, there's a ton. Any kind of town like that. However, we did one that was so remote, so in the middle of nowhere, and this is called the Joyce Sledder. So this is out in the mountains on the border of Oman and the United Arab Emirates, and there is nothing else out there.
So you're just like climbing up an elevation through these crazy looking mountains, and then on the side of the road is the entrance to the roller coaster, like all by itself. It is part of like a complex. If you keep going further up, there's also like a zip line stuff. So that's how they draw people to this area. But if you aren't going for the zip line, you're literally just driving. It's like, oh look, there's a roller coaster, and like, there's no other businesses around.
No,
It's crazy.
The only thing that we learned was like if you kept going up that road like a little further is where like I want to say like the president of that emirate lived.
Yeah,
or
yeah,
like
yeah.
The
He's like the governor or something.
Yeah, and he like lives up there, like right on the border in the mountains. I'm like,
it's so strange. But this was a really cool ride. One of the things I love about it is as you take this long climb up to the top, when you crest over, you are looking out at the sea that if you could see the other side, I think it's the country of Iran. So it's just like this insane setup for a ride, very unconventional, even for a mountain coaster. You know, we live in a day and age where there's some people who say, you know, roller coasters are so fun, I'm gonna make one myself. So the concept of a backyard roller coaster isn't as rare as maybe it used to be. The concept of a backyard roller coaster that goes upside down is extremely rare, and that's what I got to experience a couple years ago. It's called the Blue Flash. It was made by a man named John Ivers.
I didn't get to ride this thing, but just looking at it, I'm like, oof, that looks like it'll break your neck.
It was a lot. It was very, very forceful. If you have a back or neck problems, it probably wasn't for you. But the man literally built it on his shed. It includes like a relatively steep drop. I want to say it was like 13 or 14 feet tall, and then you have a vertical loop, a helix, and that's it. And then he had another like smaller roller coaster that he built like for his kids that was right next to it. And something pretty cool, actually, with the help of my friend Alec, we actually like help coordinate a deal to move the roller coasters to a new location. So it's no longer in some man's backyard in Indiana. It's actually at a haunted house now called Haunted Hoochie. You can't currently ride it, it's just there as a display. But again, that's another bizarre location for a roller coaster, that there's no other rides there. It's just now a roller coaster that was made by some guy at a haunted house. It's in Columbus. It's awesome. Go check it out.
So the next one on this list is actually the coaster that inspired the idea for this video, because you know, working on this video about Namazu and Volcania, and I'm like, wow, how weird is it that at like a science center, like this is essentially like a place where people go to learn about volcanoes, and they just happen to have not only a roller coaster, but an Intamin straddle coaster with a drop track.
Yeah, it's like a legitimate ride.
Yeah.
That's something you'd find at like a full-blown park. And like, in a way, Volcania feels like a park, but that's not really the purpose of it. Like, they're not really known for their rides as much. Like, the park was established well before they had this roller coaster. Mm-hmm. They're known for like, they have like a planetarium and like different exhibits where you can learn about this stuff. But we went because we heard about this roller coaster.
Yeah, it's like, I don't think we would have gone all the way out there if it was like something really small, but like the fact that it was like freaking Intamin coaster, we're like, we have to do it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, really, really cool place. If you're in central France, go check it out. One of the more random locations that I've ridden a roller coaster in was at a place called Incredible Pizza Company. This is a pizza buffet in St. Louis that has a ride. It's located in their arcade, and it's called Incredible Spin Coaster. It's an SBF Visa, and you can get it right after you finish your meal of pizza. Think of it like a CC's. It's so random.
Do you think they get people throwing up? Like, because they're like eating so much pizza and they get on a spinning coaster? Like, I think that combo is lethal.
I'm not gonna lie, it probably does happen. I would say, you know, if you've done an SBF Visa, you know that the amount of spin you get is definitely dependent on like the weight of the vehicle. Sometimes you get more than others. Sure, it's like be
heavy after a pizza buffet.
Yeah, it's funny. So, I mean, if you haven't been here, imagine eating at a restaurant and then like just going like across the room to ride a roller coaster.
So full disclaimer, number 3 on this list is located at a theme park. And if it was just at a theme park in Egypt, it wouldn't really be that weird because roller coasters can be in Egypt.
Sure.
However, this roller coaster, when you are on the lift hill, gives you a clear as day view of the Great Pyramids of Giza, aka one of the wonders of the world.
Yeah.
What the heck is that?
Oh, I know. It's insane. The fact that they were able to actually like get approval to build a park here, and then that you can like actually see the pyramids from it. Like, I mean, I know Egypt is like relatively flat, but still, that's pretty impressive.
Well, it's that close. Miles-wise, it's like really not that far, and it's like
Sure.
it's right within your line of vision if you look to the right.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, the ride is not fun, but
No.
the views made it worth it, so we didn't mind doing it. Now, this past January, we got to ride a roller coaster in a pretty wild location. This is in the middle of the ocean on a cruise ship. We got to experience Bolt the Ultimate Sea Coaster on the Carnival Mardi Gras. It was part of this big event we did called the Coaster Cruise. If this is actually something that interests you, we're doing it again next February, the 1st through the 8th on the Carnival Jubilee. It departs out of Galveston. Please sign up because this was a really, really cool experience.
Again, it's not the most thrilling thing in the world, but it's like the fact that you are out in the middle of the ocean, right? On a cruise ship, like just enjoying a coaster is so bizarre and feels so wrong, but in like the best way.
Yeah.
So if you have any interest in doing that eventually, I mean, like what better time to do it than with a bunch of other coaster enthusiasts? And, you know, if you like us, we'll be there.
Yep. Coastercruise.com.
Yeah.
Please come sign up. There'll be a bunch of other enthusiasts there. But Bolt was a lot of fun. It's on the top deck of the ship, so like you're almost 200 feet above the water line. And that is a pretty
So it's
cool
a hyper
sensation.
coaster.
Well, I wouldn't.
A hyper coaster at sea.
I wouldn't go that far, but all right.
So for the number one spot, this is a coaster that was a temporary art exhibit created by E.J. Hill with the help of Skyline Attractions. So they built this pretty small roller coaster in this really giant room at the Mass Mocha. And you know, when you think of being at a museum, you know, you're usually quiet. Like that's kind of part of the etiquette, right? Like you're quiet and everyone's just kind of taking in the artwork around you. And when you think about roller coasters, at first you might not really think of them as art, but like really they are. They are absolutely works of art. And when you're in there riding the coaster, like you are the art display.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. And you know, you almost feel like torn because you're like roller coasters you usually associate with like put your hands up and like cheer and scream and stuff, but everyone's like really quiet, like standing there watching you, and you're like,
and they're all like,
yeah, they're all eyes are on you. It's like, I am art.
Yeah, well, you ride all alone, and it's one person per hour, so it's like very few people ever got to ride this, and we feel like so, you know, lucky that we got to do it. And I would have never guessed. Like, if you gave me this list and been like, which ones do you think would never actually happen? I would say in a museum, that like, why would that happen?
Yeah, but man, it was great, and I'd love to see more of this style in the future. You just need a museum that like has enough space, and this is a contemporary museum, so you know some of the art pieces are a little bit out there, and this is a very unconventional design, so it fit right in. But it was also pretty random because this museum is out in the middle of like nowhere, in just like the corner of Massachusetts. So you have to drive a bit a ways away to get to this museum, but it was worth it. That was a really, really cool experience. So please let us know if you've ridden a roller coaster in a weird location. What was it? Where was it?
And why is it weird?
Yeah, how did it make you feel being there? Because I can think of when I was at each of these locations being like, this is strange. It's an odd sensation.
It was a what am I doing with my life, but also I love my life moment.
Accurate. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.